Hi, everybody, and welcome back. My name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. Today's tip is clean your kitchen. Now, you're probably wondering what cleaning has to do with frugality. For me, I clean my kitchen every morning, every night. I do all the dishes, I scrub down the counters, sanitize them with rubbing alcohol. I do have, I do have my tea jar that I finished off because I had already scrubbed the kitchen, and I typically will have one of those, and I'll have my hot tea mug in the sink, and if I have yogurt for a before bed snack, I'll have a spoon that is rinsed and sitting in the sink, and those will be done in the morning. I do the same thing, do the dishes, scrub the counter. The reason I do it is I don't want bugs, and bugs are looking for food and they're looking for water. By making sure I've wiped up all the water mess, by using the rubbing alcohol, which also helps kind of dry the water and sanitize and leave an unpleasant feel for the bugs, I guess. That helps. Rubbing alcohol is key. So when I lived in Southwest Florida, my first apartment, I moved in, and I try and be fairly eco-friendly. And I kept finding these little beetles. They were about the size of a ladybug, and they were brown and black. Now, if you know anything about roaches, you know where I'm going with this. So I kept releasing these beetles into the backyard, and I found them all over. And I would just, release them in the backyard, release them in the backyard. Couldn't figure out what they were. So about 3 months living in there, all of a sudden I look over and I see a stinking roach. I lost it. Now mind you, it was like a 600 to 700 square foot apartment. So, and as a minimalist, I mean, like, we had tons of space. There was like tons of space. That apartment was practically empty. But I mean, I lost it. So I started researching, and I found out that the bugs I was letting go were actually baby roaches. They were roach nymphs, so obviously that changed. I found out they're attracted to cardboard. I got rid of all the cardboard. I found out that you can get this stuff, and it makes it so they become sterile and they can't shed their exoskeleton. So I got that. I put all of my food in the fridge and freezer for the rest of the time I lived there. I scrubbed down the kitchen with rubbing alcohol 4 to 5 times a day. I was more than excessive. All of my silverware went in Ziploc. I would wash my dishes, and I would immediately dry them and put them away. I was not leaving anything to chance with this. So I dealt with it. I successfully managed to, in about 3 to 4 months time, get rid of the roaches. And that is no easy feat. It probably cost me $500 to $1,000. But I did it. In a 12-unit apartment building, I was the only one without roaches, and people were like, oh, no, you had to have. No, because the thing is that I made my home incredibly inhospitable. So why are they going to come to my home when it's literally like got rubbing alcohol, which like irritates their legs or feet or whatever they'd be called? But rubbing alcohol irritates them. So why are they going to come in that area when they could easily just go next door? So yeah, keeping my home clean helped. Now my home's not clean right now. It's overly crowded. I've got to put the sewing machine away. I've got my computer out. I've got to get set for seed starting. It's a mess. But my kitchen is clean. Getting rid of bugs can be expensive, whether it's roaches, whether it's ants. When I first moved in here, I had like 10 to 20 ants the first summer, 5 to 10 the next summer. I haven't had an ant since. And you probably think like 10 to 20 ants, 5 to 10 ants, that doesn't sound like a lot. But to me it is. It's 10 to 20 ants more than I should have had. So for me, it's the pound of prevention is where, or what is it? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of the cure. Um, and keeping a clean kitchen does that. So I use Comet to scrub it. I use rubbing alcohol. I make sure my dishes are done. If I'm gonna have to soak a pan, it's for like 5 to 60 minutes max. Typically, closer to the 5 to 10, but sometimes I'm busy doing other stuff, and so I will let it soak because I'm not doing dishes right then. But yeah, I don't leave water sitting in the kitchen, except for when they kept turning off our water and we had to. Um, I don't leave dishes sitting in the sink. I do dishes in the morning and the evening. I probably spend 20 to 60 minutes a day cleaning my kitchen, depending. Um, I mean, really, the bulk of it is dishes. I mean, you're seeing most of my kitchen. So, like, here's the knife block, and this is the Tavala, and then there's the counter that you see me do all of like my prep on, and then here's the stove, and there's the back corner of the counter and the sink. So I don't have a huge kitchen. And then once a month, or I'm sorry, once a week, I mop, and once every month or two, I'll get down on my hands and knees and actually scrub the floor, um, so that it stays clean. But also, in a tiny home, it gets dirty quick because you're in such a small space that you're not spreading that dirt out. It's like right there. But keeping your kitchen clean is going to deter bugs and other pests, and then it's going to save you. You're not going to have to be hiring an exterminator. You're not going to have to be going out to Home Depot, Lowe's, or Walmart, or whatever your local Ace hardware store, grocery store, whatever, and getting bug killer. You're not going to have to be doing that, and that gets expensive. So by keeping my kitchen clean, and I probably go through one to two things, or one thing of Comet every thing of Comet every 1 to 2 months, and that's $1.25. Rubbing alcohol isn't that expensive, and that lasts me forever since I started putting it in the spray bottle. So if I was back down in Southwest Florida, I would be back to just coating everything in rubbing alcohol. I swear my house smelled like a hospital. Like there was so much rubbing alcohol all the time. Honestly, I mean, like once it dries, you don't smell it, but I was just constantly cleaning. But yeah, and I mean, it can have other benefits too. I mean, not getting food poisoning. That's always a benefit, right? But bugs, critters, pests, rodents, mice, all of that, they get expensive to get rid of, and you have to, because you don't want to ruin your food. I mean, I remember when I was teaching, a kid was talking about how they had no food to eat in the house because a rat had gotten in and literally gnawed through all their dried goods, all their mac and cheese and their cereal and everything. And so they had no food. And he came to school hungry because he'd had nothing to eat all weekend because and he was very much so like me, like, no, once something has gotten to it, I will just go hungry, thank you. So there was nothing for them to eat, and so by keeping your kitchen clean, you're not going to get bugs. And I mean, it's not a guarantee. I mean, you obviously could get bugs or rats or any number of things, but keeping your kitchen clean is a really easy way to prevent it. So clean up when you cook, clean up, do your dishes. Don't leave dishes sit overnight. Don't leave them sit in the sink. Don't leave them sit all day. Granted, I kind of have a more flexible schedule, so I can do my dishes morning and night. I'm not like rushing off to work in the morning. And if you are, then try and kind of create a way to have fewer dishes or whatever. I take the garbage out. It's winter now. Well, meteorological spring technically. It's the beginning of March. It's like March 6th, 7th, whatever. It's technically the 7th now because it's 3 a.m. But you can, bugs are coming. It's that time of year. So keep your kitchen clean. Do your dishes. Um, if you have a busy morning, try and figure out a way around it. Take your garbage out more frequently. It's winter, so, or spring technically. So right now I take it out every 2 to 3 days. I have to drive it down to the dumpster. My dumpster's like 2 to 4 blocks from my house. But during the summer, I will keep a like a little grocery bag. This is something my grandma taught me. You take the garbage out once or twice a day by putting it in a grocery bag instead of in the actual garbage can, and then you just take those bags out. So it's hitting that time where garbage needs to go out more frequently, where you need to make sure your kitchen is clean. I mean, honestly, you should always be keeping your kitchen clean, but bug season is quickly approaching, so if you need to get it cleaned and prepped, do that now. And then just make sure you're cleaning it and not leaving dishes sit or anything. Anyways, again, my name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. If you want to hear more, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.